Okay, I'm going to do a little mini sermon on gossipers. There's a lot of them around. Everybody has a past. But gossipers and busybodies, they like keeping people's past up in front of their faces. No matter how they tried to get past that and live a better life, some people won't let it go. Okay, we're going to start with gossipers, and busybodies on this one. The Hebrew word translated gossip in the Old Testament is defined as one who reveals secrets, one who goes about as a talebearer or a scandalmonger. A gossiper is a person who has privileged information about people and proceeds to reveal that information to those who have no business knowing it. Gossip is distinguished from sharing information in two ways. Number one, intent. Gossipers often have the goal of building themselves up by making others look bad and exalting themselves as some kind of repositories of knowledge. And number two, the type of information shared. Gossipers speak of the faults and failings of others, or reveal potentially embarrassing or shameful details regarding the lives of others without their knowledge or approval. Even if they mean no harm, it's still gossip. And I know many of them. In fact, there's some of my family, they're gossips, and they thrive on drama. I hate drama. Anyway, I digress. Romans 1:29-32. Being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of God that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. In the book of Romans, Paul reveals the sinful nature and lawlessness of mankind, stating how God poured out his wrath on those who rejected his laws, because they have turned away from God's instruction and guidance. He gave them over to their sinful natures. The list of these sins includes gossips, slanders. We see from the passage how serious the sin of gossip is, and that it characterizes those who are under God's wrath. If you enjoy gossiping, you enjoy being in the middle of drama all the time, you better take a second look. 1 Timothy 5:12-13. Have damnation, because they have cast off their first faith, and withal they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers, also, and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not. Another group who were, and still are today, known for indulging in gossip is widows. Paul cautions widows against entertaining the habit of gossip and being idle. Not just the widows. There's a lot of people today that are idle, and they do a lot of gossiping. These women are described as gossips and busybodies, saying things they ought not to. Because women tend to spend a lot of time in each other's homes and work closely with other women, they hear and observe situations which can be distorted, especially when repeated over and over. Paul states that widows get into the habit of going from home to home, looking for something to occupy their idleness. Idle hands are the devil's workshop, and God cautions against allowing idleness to enter our lives. A gossip betrays a confidence, So avoid a man or woman who talks too much. This is stated in Proverbs 20:19. He that goeth about as a talebearer revealeth secrets. Therefore meddle not with him that flattereth with his lips. There's a lot of men and women today are really idle. And it's going to be more idleness coming the way the world's going right now. There's going to be people out of work, nothing to do, and they're going to be idle. You got to be careful not to get into being a gossip and busybody. Okay, women are certainly not the only ones who have been found guilty of gossip. Anyone can engage in gossip simply by repeating something heard in confidence. Whether that's true or not, they still repeat it. The book of Proverbs has a long list of verses that cover the dangers of gossip and the potential hurt that results from it. Proverbs 11:12-13 states, "A man who lacks judgment derides his neighbor, but a man of understanding holds his tongue." A gossip betrays confidence, but a trustworthy man keeps the secret. It's also stated in Proverbs 16:28 that a perverse man stirs up dissension and a gossip separates close friends. Many a friendship had been ruined over a misunderstanding that started with gossip. Those who engage in this behavior do nothing but stir up trouble and cause anger, bitterness, and pain among friends. Sadly, some people thrive on this and look for opportunities to destroy others. And when such people are confronted, they deny the allegations and answer with excuses and rationalizations. Rather than admit wrongdoing, they blame someone else or attempt to minimize the seriousness of the sin they just committed. Proverbs 18:7-8 states, "A fool's mouth is his undoing, and his lips are a snare to the soul. The words of gossip are like choice morsels. They go down to a man's innermost parts." So we must guard our tongues and refrain from the sinful act of gossip. If we surrender our natural desires to the Lord, He will help us to remain righteous. May we all follow the Bible's teachings on gossip by keeping our mouths shut, unless it is necessary and appropriate to speak. What is the difference between a gossiper and a busybody? A busybody is a person who meddles in the affairs of others. Sometimes this meddling is under the guise of helping, but usually the help is unwelcome and uninvited. Busybodies are often people who are dissatisfied with the level of drama in their own lives and gain satisfaction by becoming involved in the problems of others. Gossip is usually a staple of every busybody, but is usually camouflaged as a prayer request or given under the pretense of asking for advice. The Bible has strong words for busybodies. 2 Thessalonians 3:11 and 1 Timothy 5:13. "For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all, but are busybodies." In 1 Timothy, "And withal they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers also, and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not." I know many in the body of Christ that go meddling in others' affairs. They usually have a Pharisee spirit. They think that they know everything and believe that they have all the answers. 1 Peter 4:15 warns us, "Make sure that none of you suffers as a murderer or thief or evildoer or a troublesome meddler." A troublesome meddler is right in there with murderer and a thief and an evildoer. It is interesting that Peter lists meddling as prohibited right along with these others. Busybodies rank way on the list of things not to do. Busybodies within the church often camouflage their nosy meddling as compassionate concern. The difference between meddling and concern, however, is whether or not the intrusion is beneficial or productive in the lives of others. Some people have difficulty recognizing themselves as busybodies. So a few questions can aid in determining whether or not attempts to help are in fact meddling. A potential busybody should ask him or herself the following questions. Number 1, is it any of my business? Number 2, has God giving me this assignment? Number 3, am I qualified to involve myself with this? Number 4, is my true motivation to bring help, or do I only want to feel needed? Number 5, how much of my discussion about the situation could be classified as gossip? Number 6, what was the result the last time I intruded in a situation that was not my problem? Number 7, has my opinion been sought by those involved? Number 8, am I motivated by love for this person or by a sense of my own importance? Number 9, am I basing my help on Scripture or on my own opinion? Number 10, do I respond with anger when my advice is not accepted or found to be flawed? An honest answer to these questions can help us determine whether our involvement in the affairs of others, in fact, is meddling. If we recognize that our own motivation is the enjoyment of being in the center of other people's issues, it may be time to let God deal with our own insecurity. It's important to remember that busybodies rarely think of themselves as insecure. If we find ourselves often embroiled in the secrets of others, it may be wise to seek the oversight of a trusted friend or a pastor. An objective person can help clarify our motivations and keep us from becoming a busybody. See, that is one of the biggest problems in families right now. People being busybodies. You don't like this uncle, you don't like this brother, you don't like this sister. And you keep things going. And no matter how hard they try to get past a mistake they made, somebody in the family keeps bringing it up, keeps it at the forefront. And most of the time when they do that, they need to look at themselves because they've made a lot of mistakes themselves. We all make mistakes. But we go past it. And when a person's going past it and rebuilding something that he messed up in the past, and he's done away with that, or she's done away with that, it's time to leave them alone. Let them get their life together. Being a busybody and a gossip doesn't help anything or anyone. In fact, it makes it worse. You tell one little thing about somebody to this person tells that person tells that person, that person tells that. By the time it gets back around, it's completely blown out of proportion. It's not anywhere close to the truth in the first place. And you have to remember, it's where judging comes in. By the measure that you judge others, the same measure is going to be used to judge you. So you need to look at yourself. Are you a gossiper? Do you tell stories that happened eons ago to keep things going? Do you love drama? Oh, I know a bunch of people that love drama. I stay completely away from it. Somebody tries to tell me something, so I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And I don't want to hear it. Because they're not dragging me into their gossip and they're being busybodies. So this is something that everybody needs to be aware of within themselves, within their own families. And it's hard, especially when a family member is into gossip and into being a busybody. It's hard to confront them because they don't think they're doing anything wrong. They go, well, it's the truth. It's the truth. Everybody needs to know this. Why? Why does everybody need to know it? Anyway, I wanted to give you, this is a short one, but it's something that people need to realize. You don't want to be a gossiper and a busybody. That's right up there with murder. It's right up in the same category as murder. To God, sin is sin. We place different values on different sins. This sin's worse than this sin. This. To God, all sin is sin. It's all the same to Him. But anyway, I'm going to stop here and I'll start another one. But I wanted to get this one done because I see so much of the gossip and being busybodies and trying to be in other people's life and trying to stir up stuff in other people's life. It's wrong. Completely wrong. So I'll talk to you all later, and you have a blessed evening, and may God bless every one of you.